What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. You read the title today. We are doing the NBA Midway Awards, not to be confused with the Battle of Midway. This ain't a history lesson. This is a sports video. Today we're going to go over a couple of the basic awards along with, I think, 3 awards that I created myself. We're just looking to have a little bit of fun. We're almost at the All-Star break. We're about 40 games in. That's close enough to Midway, to the point where I'm comfortable making this video because 2 games ain't changing much. We're going to start off with the actual NBA awards and then go to my made-up ones. So we're going to start off with MVP, start off with a heavy hitter. I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as my MVP. Earlier in the season, I had Jason Tatum as my MVP. Shai's kind of pulled away recently with how the Thunder have been playing, although they did get a big loss to the Cavs the other day. Shai's still like the puppet master who pulls the strings of the defense and gets whatever he wants, just about any possession he wants. He started out the game yesterday 7 for 7. He started the game 7 for 7, finished 12 of 15, which is about as efficient as it gets. He's like the second most efficient player in basketball in my mind behind Jokic. Shai finished last night with 32 and 9. Pretty impressive. 9 assists is pretty good. He's averaging 6 on the season, which is a good number for him. Shai has an effective field goal percentage in the 86th percentile at 57.5%. That's crazy. But if that wasn't crazy enough, he also shoots 51% on mid-range jumpers, along with shooting 73% at the rim. He's a guard, and mind you, this isn't a big guy either. This is a frail guard. He's not your big Luka Doncic, wide body guard. He's not like that. He's kind of small. How much he weighs doesn't really matter when he's averaging 31 points per game to go along with 6 assists and about 5.5 rebounds. He's not quite the box score filler like Jokic is, but he still gets the job done. I understand this vote could go to Nikola Jokic, and this award could go to Nikola Jokic as a whole, but it feels almost lazy to give him the award. The guy's going to be the most valuable player on his team every single season. That's not his fault. It's the front office's fault that they can't build competence around him. But it would feel lazy to just pick Jokic every year, and I'm okay with it if he were to win the actual NBA MVP. I would not throw a fit about it. However, I want to give this to Shai because it's a little bit more fun to do. I could just give it to Jokic and explain to you that his on-off numbers are the best in the NBA, maybe the best in NBA history. I could do that. I don't know, I just don't feel like doing it. I think Shai deserves it. They're the 1 seed. They're on a historic win pace. Somebody deserves to win some awards out in OKC, for Christ's sake. And Shai's the leader of that team. He's been playing all right defense. He's not, like I said, he's not a big guard. He's not really the strongest guy, but he's been playing good enough defense. And on top of that, he's still ultra efficient as ever. I mean, that's like his biggest strength is how efficient he is. Crazy to think that I watched this guy at Kentucky and I did not think he would be this good. But he also had Chris Paul as a mentor in his first few years in the league, so that definitely helps. Shai has just come a long way from where he started in his career. I think he deserves the MVP. He's been impressive all season. Had to pause the recording to go put on some lotion, but Shai is simply put ridiculous. He's maybe one of the best 3 players in basketball. I'd say closer to the best 5. Tatum's in there. Jokic is in there for these MVP discussions, but ultimately I gave it to Shai. Move on to the next award. NBA 6th Man of the Year, I have DeAndre Hunter. He's second betting favorite right now behind Peyton Pritchard. I don't get why, to be honest. I love Peyton Pritchard, don't get me wrong, but I think DeAndre Hunter is just a better, more consistent player. Hunter's only started 2 of his 27 games played. He's currently averaging 19.5 points per game and 4 rebounds on, listen to these shooting splits, 47, 43, 85.5. Like, that's efficient as hell. Not too long ago, a few seasons as a matter of fact, DeAndre Hunter's contract was kind of doubted and some people thought it might have been an overpay. Now it almost feels like an underpay. He's been incredible all season, and now it seems like every time he plays, he scores 20 points. The only issue with DeAndre Hunter is health, if he is even eligible for the award by the end of the season, because he does miss a good amount of games. I'm pretty sure he missed yesterday's game as well. Yeah, he has a left foot injury. So I'm not sure if he's going to qualify for End of the Year award, so I kind of want to give it to him now. I like Peyton Pritchard, don't get me wrong, but I view DeAndre Hunter as more versatile. He can get buckets in different ways than Peyton Pritchard can. All around, I think DeAndre Hunter has become a perfect piece for what this Hawks team is building, this very quickly developing Hawks core at that too. And while the stats may not say DeAndre Hunter's a good defender, if you watch the games, you can see he's still putting in effort. You look at Peyton Pritchard, I know he's putting in effort, but how much effort can a 6-foot flat white guard get you? DeAndre Hunter's net ratings will tell you that he's been a negative on defense, but if you watch the games, it looks like he's still trying, and the Hawks all around are a pretty bad defensive unit, so it's not really like his effort really matters. I respect the hell out of Peyton Pritchard, but his defensive effort matters absolutely none because he's a 6-foot guard. He gets attacked a lot. I like DeAndre Hunter more. Hunter's consistency has really made him like a standout for me. Like I said, this Hawks team has been one of my most watched teams this year. I enjoy watching this Atlanta Hawks team play, and they're very quickly developing. You know, you see the young wings and Reese Shea and Jalen Johnson take steps up, but DeAndre Hunter off the bench has been a very key piece of them winning games. I wasn't really a big fan of DeAndre Hunter's early on in his career, but now it really seems that he's developing into an all-around player rather than 3-and-D. I think that's what the Hawks tried to mold him into the beginning, was a 3-and-D guy for Trey, but he kind of likes his shots more off the dribble. He likes to be able to run a second unit, and that's kind of the opportunity he's been given this season. It's been perfect for him. Shout out to DeAndre Hunter, though. We'll move on to the next award. He deserves his respect. Like I said, shout out to Peyton Pritchard, too, but I just like Hunter's consistency a lot more. Defensive Player of the Year, I have Toumani Camara. No, I'm just kidding. I have Jaren Jackson Jr. Shout out to Toumani Camara, though. He's a really good defender, but Jaren Jackson Jr. deserves a lot of respect. This Grizzlies team is currently sitting at the 3-seed spot in the West, and they have the 7th best defense in the NBA in terms of defensive rating. A lot of that credit for how good the defense is goes to Jaren Jackson Jr. Of course, some of it goes to Zach Edey. However, the Grizzlies' defense is 6 points per 100 possessions better when Jaren Jackson is on the floor. Opposing teams' effective field goal percentage drops 2.5% when Jaren Jackson checks into a game. He has been a defensive menace once again. A block rate in the 80th percentile is impressive for a regular player, but for Jaren Jackson, it's actually kind of down. Most people would panic about that. However, he's in the 91st percentile in steal rate now. So he's turned some of that block rate into a higher steal rate, and it evens out at the end of the day. Like I said, the block rate isn't as high as his past years. You know, 2021 was a really big year, and same with 2022. He was in like over the 90th percentile in block rate, so 80th is a step down. However, 91st percentile is a career high, and a steal rate over 2% is a career high as well. Some people want this to be Wemby. Some people might want this to be Dyson Daniels. I understand, but here's the thing. I value team defense just as much as I value individual defense. I understand Victor Wembanyama is a godsend defensively. He will wipe anybody, but currently the Spurs are about a middle-of-the-pack defense. While I can respect middle of the pack, it's definitely solid. It's not 7th best in the league. I value the team's defense being good on top of the individual player's defense being good. Jaren checks both boxes. I'm a supporter of Jaren Jackson Jr. He's been attacking more off the dribble recently, getting downhill into the paint. He's shooting a career high at the rim, I think, as well. Obviously, that has nothing to do with Defensive Player of the Year, but he has had an impressive year so far. And the combination of Edey plus Jackson has been absolutely unfair for offenses to deal with. You know, Jaren's very versatile as well. I think that's what helps him a lot in my head, is that he can guard forwards. He can hold his own against guards, and then bigs, he can still hold his own as well. Just a very good all-around defender, jack of all trades type. He can guard anybody in the league, I believe. Jaren's impressed me beyond belief this season, to be honest. And like I said, the Grizzlies have a good team defense as well, at 7th in the league compared to the Spurs. I think it's 13th to be exact. So it just shows that Jaren on the court means a lot. Almost brings me to my discussion of the Jalen Williams thing that he said the other day with the guard. There should be 2 separate Defensive Player of the Year awards because one should be for bigs, one should be for guards. That'd be interesting. It's actually not a bad thought, to be honest, because Defensive Player of the Year historically has been controlled by big men. And part of it's ironic because I could give this award to Dyson Daniels, but instead I chose to give it to Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a big man over a guard, obviously. But I still believe that big men are mostly the best defensive players in the league. Why? Because a layup is the easiest shot in the league, and the big man is the one protecting against the layup. Obviously, a contested 3 can still go in, but a contested dunk or a layup is a little bit more difficult considering it's the easiest shot in basketball. You know, and plus it's harder to grade individual perimeter defense with how the game's called nowadays, with the ticky-tack fouls and stuff like that, and foul baiting in general is at an all-time high. So it's really hard to grade outside perimeter defenders and guards and stuff. But I can definitely see Jalen Williams' argument wanting to split the award guards and bigs. One gets one. But because there only is one award right now for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm choosing to give it to Jaren Jackson Jr. over a guy like Victor Wembanyama. I just believe the block rate, the steal rate, and team defense shows how important he is on the court. I know Victor Wembanyama is important as well. This shouldn't downplay what Vic is doing this season, but I'm choosing a guy who's playing on a better defense. I just very much value what Jaren Jackson does, plus the versatility helps him a little bit more. Move on to the next one. This is the last of the real NBA awards. It is Coach of the Year. This is going to go to Kenny Atkinson. The Cleveland Cavaliers deserve an award, damn it. I'm going to keep saying that, and I don't know where they're going to get one. They're going to have a couple of maybe All-NBA players. Mobley might make All-NBA, and then Donovan Mitchell might make All-NBA as well. Before this season, my opinion on the Cleveland Cavaliers was not really a positive one. I viewed them as a 3 to 6 seed, just like the last few seasons. I didn't see any improvements coming. I was very wrong. Yeah, my prediction's dead. This Cavs team has been elite. Extremely impressive. They just got a big win over OKC like last week. That was an impressive win. They struggle with the Pacers a little bit, but every East team seems to struggle with the Pacers. I don't know. It was that third quarter plague that they hit the other day. However, they handled them in the second half of the back-to-back. Last season, the big knock on the Cleveland Cavaliers was that their guards could not play together. Their guards and their bigs specifically. When it was Garland out, Mitchell in, they played better. When it was Mitchell out, Garland in, they played better. It was just the cohesion wasn't there. This season, obviously, to be as good as they are right now, cohesion has to be at an all-time high. Double bigs are working better than ever. I mean, they are just mauling teams down low. Allen, Mobley, no team can really handle that physicality down low. Like, Jared Allen's only 6'9", but he plays like a 7-footer. Mobley looks like he's more confident than ever, taking people off the dribble. He loves that left-to-right spin move. Super talented. He's been shooting threes at a decent clip. And then obviously Darius Garland. No offense to Darius Garland, but he kind of got laughed out of the playoffs last year when Donovan Mitchell went down in the Celtics series. Darius Garland did not look very good at all. He got laughed off the court, to be honest, and he came back this season kind of with a vengeance. While I don't think that was JB Bickerstaff holding them back, I think JB is a very good coach still. I think Kenny Atkinson did a lot to kind of unlock these guys and instill the confidence in them that, hey, like Evan Mobley, you can go get a bucket individually. You can go ISO a guy. You can get the ball in the post against a mismatch. Or Garland, hey, you have a big man switched onto you, go eat. Or you have a bad defensive guard on you, go eat. Kenny Atkinson's instilled a lot of confidence in these guys, and like I said, I don't think JB was holding them back. I just think they reached their ceiling with JB as their coach. Impressive job by Kenny Atkinson getting the job done with this team on a nightly basis. They just seem to win every time the Celtics lose, which makes me upset as a Celtics fan. I would like to catch them at some point, but I doubt that's going to happen. This Cavs team is a serious threat and should be treated as such, mostly due to the brilliant coaching of Kenny Atkinson. He deserves a big salute. There was some other guys in there like Jamal Mosley I debated on putting. Mark Daigneault deserves respect. But, man, the Cavs have just been so dominant. I didn't really think about giving this to anybody else, to be honest. All right, now we get into what I like to call the Matt Awards. These are the awards invented by me. The first one is the MPJ Ball Stops Here Award. This is a player who checks into the game and is not looking to move the ball, is not looking to put up 2 assists when he gets 10 minutes. He is looking to get 10 shots up in 10 minutes. The winner of this year's MPJ Ball Stops Here Award is Cam Whitmore of the Houston Rockets. When the ball touches Cam Whitmore's hands, the only direction it's going is toward the basket. Here's a couple of stats per, I want to make sure I get their name right, it is Space City Scoop. They put out a report that was Whitmore averages about 8.5 passes per game in 15 minutes per game. For reference, Jayshawn Tate, his teammate, plays 10 minutes per game and averages 9.5 passes. Whitmore averaging 8.5 passes per game in his 15 minutes a night is pretty hilarious considering he averages 8.5 shots in those same 15 minutes per night. Whitmore's 1.2 assists per 75 possessions is a crazy stat, to be honest with you. We know what Cam Whitmore is, though. He's a bomber. He comes in and his role is to score. That's what his game has always been. Ime Udoka called him a professional scorer not too long ago, I believe. So we know what Whitmore does. However, I still think it's impressive that he averages the same amount of shots as passes on a game-to-game basis. Recently, people have been worried about body language issues. I just think Whitmore has always been kind of a downtrodden guy, I guess. I don't know how else to describe him. He's a very, stoic individual. People worry about his body language. I'm not really worried about it, and neither is Houston, to be honest. They're cruising. They're winning games. Whitmore's been a part of that recently since his complaints to Ime about not playing. As long as you win games, it doesn't really matter what players are doing, but I do find it hilarious how, like I said, Jayshawn Tate in 5 less minutes a night is averaging more passes per game than Cam Whitmore is. Truly, the definition of the MPJ Ball Stops Here Award. Congratulations, Cam. Next up, we have the Enola Gay Award. If you don't know what the Enola Gay is, Google it. But it is a bomber. A guy who comes in and his dedicated goal is to just shoot the ball and drop bombs from deep. The winner of this year's Enola Gay Award goes to AJ Green of the Milwaukee Bucks. AJ Green is by all definitions a bomber. Green checks into the game and immediately changes how defenses have to handle this Bucks team. They have to space the floor more and respect what AJ Green can do from downtown. AJ Green, not to be confused with AJ Green from the Cincinnati Bengals, they look the exact opposite. Basically as far opposite as you can imagine, but Green on the Bucks does shoot the three-pointer at a 45% clip. Guess what he's shooting from the field? 45.5%. Before yesterday's game, because I haven't added yesterday's game shot total in, Green has taken 24 shots that aren't threes. Now, how many threes has he taken? 182. Truly impressive stuff that he has only taken 24 shots inside the arc compared to 182 threes. That's the bomber. That's a bomber right there. If you ask Bucks fans, I think their favorite part about AJ Green is just how good he's been defensively as well. The defense is 4.6 points per 100 possessions better, to be exact, when AJ Green's on the court. He's been a defensive plus on top of being a 45% three-point shooter. Green is not a guy you can attack on the perimeter unlike some other, let's be honest, white shooters. The Bucks offense is also 5 points per 100 possessions better with Green on the court. Like I said, he changes the way you guard the Bucks. You can wall up Giannis all you want, but if AJ Green is shooting at 45% from three, it's maybe the best shot in basketball when he takes a three. Shout out to Derry Bird. He really is the definition of an Enola Gay bomber. He checks in and shots go up from deep. He makes them from deep too. And finally, the last award of the video, I call the Hoopin' with the Lights Off award. It means there are no lights on when you are hooping. I'm not saying that literally. What I mean is like, you know how Jared Allen said the lights were too bright in the playoffs? Well, this guy's hooping when there are no lights at all. This award goes to Colin Sexton. They're playing meaningless basketball out there in Utah right now. If you don't watch the Jazz, I completely get it. However, for a team that is 10-28 at the time of recording, Sexton hustles hard for every loose ball and does his best to win every game possible. Sexton's averaging 18.2 points per game and 4 assists on 48, 42, 90 splits. There was a time when Sexton couldn't shoot, and now he's shooting 42% from three. There's one thing you could never call into question with Colin Sexton. It's his effort on defense as well. Despite being on a pretty bad team all around, including a bad defensive team, Sexton still shows pride on the defensive end. You can't get past him. He doesn't want you to get past him. I don't hear much in terms of Sexton's trade value for mid-season, which makes me upset because this is a guy who deserves to be hooping with lights on, with some meaningfulness in the games. Meaningfulness? I don't even think that's the word. But it's meaningful. I need Colin Sexton to be playing playoff basketball. He has the mentality of a playoff basketball type of guy. He should be a six-man on like one of the better teams in basketball. Instead, he's hooping with the lights off in Utah. Even late games, you see his willingness and wantingness to just win games despite what the coaching staff and the front office wants to do. You saw him yell at Isaiah Collier to give him the damn ball before that 8-second violation. Sexton takes clutch shots and he makes clutch shots. He's done it in the past. He'll continue doing it. He still plays in Kyrie's. That's respectable. I enjoy watching Sexton thrive in Utah, and he gets all the opportunity in the world out there, but I would still like to see him on a winning team much more, to be honest. However, he is trying his ass off, and there's nothing I like more than a guy on a bad team who is still hustling like it's a playoff game. I'm a Colin Sexton appreciator. Hopefully some team decides to move for him at the deadline. It would be a big addition to any team trying to contend. You know what else would be a big addition? You to the channel if you were to subscribe, like, comment, share, sub. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go catch the game. See you guys in the next one.